Hey guys, we have got the World Deadlift Championships coming to you on July the 6th at Wembley. Now there's been a hell of a lot of talk about the deadlift, about the 500 kilo, somebody breaking the 500 kilo barrier, doing the 501. A lot of talk, a hell of a lot of talk. A lot of athletes saying they could do it, they might do it, they should do it. A lot of the fans speaking for them on their behalf. He can do this, he will do this, he will do that. You know what, talk's cheap. This contest has been created to turn that talk into action. You know, we get a lot of guys that talk the talk but never walk the walk, and now's the chance. And not only for the athletes, if there's anybody out there that's got a big deadlift that thinks they can pull 1,000 pounds or 1,100 pounds, then get in touch. Show us the proof and you will be invited. We've had a lot of sort of guest lifters invited to this contest. We have Larry Wheels. We have a gentleman from Ireland. Somebody just notified me. Somebody from Ireland pulled 430 or 440 kilos. We have Janasia pulling 1,000 pounds. We have Martin Lissis pulling 1,000 pounds. We've got Brian Shaw pulling 1,000 pounds. We've got Jerry Pritchett pulling 1,000 pounds. We've just got a crazy amount of people pulling over 1,000 pounds now. You know, 5 years ago, 1,000 pounds was unheard of. You know, two people had pulled 1,000 pound on the planet, and now we're getting up towards the 10 people margin. It's absolutely crazy. So, the World Deadlift Champs, we've got a hell of a lot of phenomenal athletes in there. Who is going to win it? That's the big question. We've got some big names in there. We've got Brian Shaw, we've got Jerry Pritchett, Konstantin Janasia, Matthias Kaliskowski, the new sensation, Larry Wheels. So we've got some big names in there. Now, in my opinion, the 500 kilo can be broken. You know, there's guys there, you know, Brian Shaw and Jerry Pritchett especially, they're pulling the 465, 470 margin very easily. And I will say this, right? I will say that my personal best coming into the Giants Live Deadlift Champs 2016 was 463 kilos. That was my personal best walking into that contest. I added 37 kilos onto the bar and did it. And do you want to know why I did it? You know, it was a hell of a lot of mindset and obviously training, but it's the crowd. It's the crowd there that's cheering you on, chanting my name, Eddie, Eddie. That got the hair going on the back of my neck. That gave me the goosebumps. It gave me that adrenaline. And honestly, that's where you add the kilos. That's where the PBs are done. And that's where these magical lifts like the 500 kilo, the 1,102 pound barrier are broken. So people like Brian Shaw and Jerry Pritchett, if we get a good enough atmosphere and they get a good day, you know, a good night's sleep, a good lead up, everything's perfect, I think it can happen. I think someone can come and pull 501 kilo. Now, of course, me being me, you know, I'm a very proud man. I'm very proud of my 500 kilo deadlift. And of course, it'll be a very hard day for me when I see somebody else pull 501 kilo and break my world record. I'll hands up admit that. But I'm not naive enough to think that it can't be done, because it was people that said to me it was impossible. You know, I said I was going to pull 500 kilo, and 99.9% of the strongman community, the promoters, the other strongmen laughed in my face, completely laughed in my face, putting videos out, ridiculous statement, never going to happen. It's all over the forums on the internet. And guess what? I went and did it. So I can't be naive enough to think it can't be done, because I've done it myself and I proved people wrong. So it can happen. Will it happen? We don't know. But I will say this, we need the crowd there, we need the atmosphere, and we need the support behind these guys. Now, the actual contest itself is sort of like a world's strongest man come together, one-day event in an arena. We have the top athletes in the world, literally the top 10 in the world will be at this event, battling it out to see who is the Giants Live Wembley strongest man. And this, you know what, you might not class it as a world's strongest man event, but whoever wins this is kind of like the world's strongest man. It's that sort of prestige. So we've got the athletes, we've got Brian Shaw, we've got Jerry Pritchett, we've got Larry Wheels, Konstantin Janasia, Matthias Kaliskowski, Martin Lissis, let me just grab a few names. There's so many in the content. How could I forget? Iron Bibby. We have got Adam Bishop, Benny Magnússon, and Luke Stoltman, Lawrence Shalai, Tom Stoltman, Mark Felix. Now, a new gentleman here, Nedsmin Ambeskovic. Hope I said that right. Very sorry if I didn't. I don't know where he's from, but he's obviously done something to impress, and he's getting invited. Mikhail Shivlikov, the Russian. Now this, another one that can pull 1,000 pounds. I'm thinking about this guy. You know, the guy has got heart. You know, he's a Marine. He's a man that's been through the soil, been through the trenches, killed people. And he started doing strongman, and he puts, obviously the hard graft he put into the Russian Marines, into his strongman, and he has come up very, very quickly. He is a force to be reckoned with. Rhino Heinle. Now, he's somebody that has really surprised me over the years, especially this last 2 years. Off the radar, and then he's just sort of come up. He's messaged me a few times. He's trying to get his name out there. You know, he's really trying hard to promote himself. But in all honesty, what he's doing is absolutely perfect. He's going to these shows. He's dominating. He's beating these guys that are coming in the top 10 of World's Strongest Man. And look what's happened. You know, he's getting an invite to Giants Live Wembley, and you know, that can just lead on to more and more and more. So the events themselves, I think we've got some very sticky events in there. We've got, I think the overhead is going to be a safe lift. Now that's an interesting one because the safe lift is usually set at a certain height. It's not adjustable for the bigger guys. So, you know, it's usually set about 140 centimeters, sort of around here on me. And even for me, that's really tough to sort of get down, get under, and press that up. Now, when you've got people like Brian Shaw, you know, a giant of the sport, 6'8", he has literally got to front squat that safe lift up and then press it. I'm not sure if there will be some sort of adjustment for Brian. Hope there will be, because it does, you know, I understand that, you know, Atlas Stones is a bit unfair and throwing the keg toss, but when it puts it to a point where it is literally it's not doable for people like Brian, I hope they make some adjustment, and I hope the other athletes will agree with that. So hopefully Brian can get comfortable with that. And then we've got people like Larry Wheels, who's really sort of explosive, really strong. His core is amazing, and his heart's there. You know, this is his first pro strongman show, and he's looking to do some damage and prove to people that he belongs there. And I believe he belongs there. There's a lot of strongmen and a lot of fans out there that believe that, no, Larry Wheels is just there because he's an internet sensation. Yes, he's an internet sensation because he's strong as fuck. That's why. So that's why he's there. Iron Bibby. He's going to be a force to reckon with. So the deadlift, the overhead, no doubt we've got the Atlas Stones. There's going to be some sort of medley, a farmers, I think, as well. Not too sure on that one. But it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be just after the World's Strongest Man. So hot off the heels, you know. And genuinely believe, you know, Matthias Kaliskowski, Brian Shaw and Martin Glissis, I genuinely believe any of those three guys could win World's Strongest Man this year. So, you know, we're going to literally have the top three in the world competing at this event. I don't want to call it. I don't want to say who's going to win this. But if I was a betting man, an absolute betting man, of course, I would bet for Brian Shaw. You know, the guy's a phenomenal athlete, always turns up professional. Yes, he's had his injuries over the years, and he keeps getting these little niggles. And every time he seems to come to the UK, he pulls something. I hope he stays fit and healthy over World's Strongest Man and comes and does some serious damage at Giants Live Wembley. I think one of the biggest draws for me is the infamous Kaz versus Magnús Ver Magnússon. Now this is going to be good because we've got two World's Strongest Man. One's won 3 World's Strongest Man titles, the other one's won 4 World's Strongest Man titles. So they're pretty equal in terms of, you know, achievement and accolades. Kaz and Maggie both still train, they're both very active, they've both got something about them, you know, they're both very, very body proud, you know, they both hold themselves very well, and I think they've both got a little bit of ego still in there that wants to compete. So we're going to see Maggie versus Kaz in a Hercules hold, in the pillar hold, and I genuinely think that's going to be a phenomenon to watch. I still think that Kaz and Maggie are going to have a surprisingly good grip. I think they're going to put a lot of the other guys to shame, maybe set some records. Not quite Mark Felix time, but I think it's going to be good. So, I mean, Giants Live Wembley. It's Wembley, baby. You know, Strongman's come a long way. Literally, when I started doing Strongman, we were in pub car parks. Literally, I remember doing England's Strongest Man back in 2010 as literally on a pub car park. Yeah, I won England's Strongest Man on a pub car park in 2010, and then 11 it sort of went into a festival. 12, you know, it's just sort of progressing. Every year the sport's getting that little bit better. Even the amateur shows now are like hiring athletic stadiums, you know, and getting 400 or 500 people turning up. The England's Strongest Woman, World's Strongest Woman is getting quite big now. The women seem to be getting more interacted with the strongman, strong woman scene. It's grown. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, we were looking at 4,000 or 5,000 people coming to Carnegie Stadium in Leeds, and now it's the normal to see 12,000 plus people there. And I tell you what, the atmosphere is absolutely phenomenal. And it's not just strongman flat. It's not just the men coming, the actual, you know, the guys that go to the gym. It's the wives, it's the grandmas, it's the mums, the dads, and the kids. You know, the sons and daughters. They love it. They absolutely love it. They love these big guys. They're the heroes. You know. And I think to go and see them in the flesh and meet us guys, you know, and give us the high fives in the crowd, it makes a fantastic atmosphere. It is a family event. It's not just for the guys. I promise you, you bring your nan, your granddad, your cousins, your nephews, nieces, your mum, dad, daughters, sons, whatever. You bring them, I promise you, we'll have a fantastic time.